the #1 Costa Rica real estate and investment podcast, bringing you experts from all over Costa Rica.
Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to episode 269 of Costa Rica Real Estate and Investments with me, your host, Richard Beckson. Today, we're going to be talking with Kim Flynn. She's a serial entrepreneur, retreat leader, and now hotelier here in Costa Rica in Sámara. So today, we're going to be talking to Kim about her journey so far, advice for others when looking to invest in Costa Rica, and also her next project here in Costa Rica. Remember, guys, we actually are looking for investors in some of our projects at the moment. We're nearly finished with our Manuel Antonio one. It's been absolutely insane. I think our occupancy in 4 of the villas from November 1st to April 30th is 70% at the moment, and we've just opened. So, I mean, that's kind of the huge advantage that we have, is just the interconnectivity within the luxury travel network. Again, not relying just on the online travel agencies like Airbnb, etc., but we drive traffic directly, and also the luxury travel market, which means our average daily rates, our nightly rates, are usually a lot higher than the rentals that you typically find online, which of course the cash flow drives the value of the product. So if you're interested about hearing about our projects in Manuel Antonio or in Arenal, guys, you can email us info@investingcostarica.com. That's info@investingcostarica.com. Or if you want to, just to be 100% sure, in the description down below are our details. There's a link there that you can click to organize a time to chat with us, or you can just email directly. I actually get all those emails, info@investingcostarica.com. But let's get straight into the podcast. Good afternoon, Kim. How are you doing?
Hey, Richard. How are you doing?
Good. Thanks for taking the time to join us here on the podcast.
I'm excited to be here.
Not at all. Not at all. I think your story is somewhat unique, so it's going to be great to be able to share that with the with all of our listeners, and also for you to give a little bit of advice to them as well.
I love that you think my story is unique. Doesn't everyone end up in Costa Rica when their business fails in 2020?
To be honest with you, I mean, but I think it's also the path that you've decided to take, and kind of just the risk that you took, and I mean, it seems to have paid off. So yeah, I'm sure we'll get into that. But my first question, Kim, always is just like, I mean, with Western markets where they're at the moment, volatility, even though they keep going up and up and up. Some people say bubble, some people say not. We'll see. But that word is thrown around all the time. But definitely the volatility is here to stay. That's for sure. But I mean, what are you seeing happening in Costa Rica?
Well, let's talk about what's happening in the U.S. as well. I'm wanting to pull all my money out of the U.S. Not necessarily because I'm trying to predict the market or anything like that, but because I want to support projects that I can really get behind, right? And the U.S. is tough to get behind these days. And so I'm wanting to pull my money out and putting it towards projects that I feel passionate about, projects that support communities. And so I've chased profit for a long time. At this phase of life, I'm chasing impact. I'm trying to do good in the planet and do good to the people that I know. And so that's why I'm investing in Costa Rica now, because it's so dang fun. And I love the people that I'm working with.
That's true. It's not always easy, but again, as I always say, if it was easy, everyone would do it. And thank God it's not easy, and everyone's not doing it.
I was expecting, because I have a hotel in Costa Rica, sorry, this fly is killing me, I was expecting things to be a lot harder. I was expecting to have huge challenges in the renovation. I was expecting to have huge personnel challenges. And I am still, of course, there are wobbles. The banking system is a trick, as you know. That's been a trick. The government in general is a little bit of a trick. But compared to like larger companies I've run in the US, this has been pretty easy, I hate to say.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, we've done some podcasts before at the moment. I mean, I think there's a lot of concern over security and just exchange rate in Costa Rica, just because it's so expensive. I mean, do you feel unsafe in Costa Rica? Do you feel safe? I mean... Yeah.
No, I've traveled a lot in Latin America. I grew up in Bolivia and Venezuela, so I'm very familiar with travel in Latin America. And I know that many US travelers especially are really nervous travelers if they have only been to the Marriott in Tamarindo. You might be nervous, but I have never felt unsafe in Costa Rica, even a tiny bit. And there's a different feeling. Like you step off the airplane in most Latin American countries, and you kind of just like you hold yourself differently, and you kind of are uber aware of everything in your surroundings. In Costa Rica, you step off and you can feel it in the air. It's just kind of like relaxed, and you're like, oh, I'm safe here. So I have never personally felt unsafe. That said, I'm a pretty savvy traveler. And some people do get nervous, but I've never felt scared there or nervous.
True.
And
I mean, Kim, what's been your journey so far when it comes to
Mhm.
investing in Costa Rica?
So I had about a $10 million business in 2020, and we closed our doors. It was a live event training business. And so I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life after that. And I kind of took a couple of years and just cried on the couch for a while. And then I came to visit Costa Rica. My sister had some property here. And so in Sámara, Sámara, or Sámara, as we say in US, and I came here, and within a couple of days, and this happens all the time to travelers in Costa Rica, like it's the street dogs and the horses roaming the street and the Pura Vida culture and the ocean, and it just kind of sucks you in and enchants you. And so within like 3 days, I was like, oh yeah, I want to live here. And so I started looking for a retreat property. I had ran retreats in my previous business. So I started looking for retreat property almost immediately, and found out that it's pretty much it's a cash market. And so I found some investors to go in on a different retreat business. That fell through. It didn't feel right. And then I was walking down the beach one day in Sámara, and the old owner of the property that I own was out in front, like hanging the for sale sign on the tree. And I was like, hello. It was one of those like meant to be situations, And I find that happens in Costa Rica more than any other place I've ever done business in. Just like serendipities just kind of happen.
Yeah.
And so that's how I found my retreat center that I have now. And I bought it as a hotel, converted it into like half hotel, half retreat center. It's worked really well. We've had really good results, and now I'm looking for the next project. So that's kind of my evolution.
I mean, I'm about to ask, do you think there's enough runway for, still for retreat centers in Costa Rica? Because it seems to be, it's been quite, a hot spot for them. But it sounds like your answer to it would be yes.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know about retreat centers for people that don't run retreats. I run retreats. I have a lot of experience running retreats. I've ran about 500 retreats in my career. So I fill my own location. So I couldn't tell you about buying a retreat center and just hoping to bring in other retreat hosts or leaders. I think that'd be a different ball game than what I do, which is fill my own retreat space.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're in control of your own destiny, which I love. I mean, I hate being in reliant on third parties, hence why now I have a construction company, development company, and a property management company. So we get, from start to finish. So yeah. But I mean, retreat demand is still strong.
Very strong. Yeah. Retreats are hot and trending, and we're having no problems filling our retreats for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what advice, again, you've now, again, as you said, had a few wobbles there. I mean, what advice would you give to anyone looking to invest in Costa Rica?
Let's see. What would I say? I would say expect a slower pace of life. If you try to pretend like investing in Costa Rica or running in Costa Rica is going to be the same as in the US, you're going to be disappointed. Like you have to go with the flow of Costa Rica. And I would recommend getting someone from the area, or at least who speaks Spanish really well, from Costa Rica on your team as soon as possible. They are going to help you navigate government systems, banking systems that are going to be just different from your culture. And don't be rude to people. That's probably my biggest advice. Like, don't come in thinking like, I hear this so frequently from hotel guests, and you probably hear this all the time, Richard, from investors too. Well, that's not how we do it in the US. Well, the way we do it in the US is so much better. Well, the banking system is so much better in the US. And you have to just put that aside. And I want to just scream at people sometimes, you're not in the US, right? Like, let's embrace that we're in a different culture, that there are different rules, or different banking rules, different government rules. Some things are harder and some things are a whole lot easier as well. So just embrace that you're in a different culture.
Well, I mean, look, the advantage of that is Costa Rica has a little bit more organic growth, because you can't just walk into a bank and get a loan. Like, it's very difficult. So you better have a lot of passion for what it is that you do and be ready for those wobbles. And yeah. And again, don't get upset at people, because here they will close down and not hurt you. I mean, there is a certain way of doing business. I'm always reminded by the Wolf of Wall Street when they went to Switzerland and they had 15 minutes talking small talk before they talk business. It's very similar here, if that makes sense. It's 80% small talk and 20% business.
Yep. Agreed. Yep. And just go at the Costa Rican pace. And for those of us who are used to a really fast, aggressive, strong pace, it'll be a little bit of a culture shock of being like, okay, we're just going to slow things down. We're
Yeah.
going to go to slower pace. Yeah.
Well, look, for someone that comes from the Western world, I mean, I've been here for 20 years now and I move at a really fast pace. There's a way, you just need to learn a certain way to do it, but you can't do it straight off the bat, because you have to understand is just all of the, I suppose, smaller, finer details and culture and everything, and know where to push and where not to push. Because otherwise, yeah, again, people, it's passive aggressiveness. So yeah, you need to know how to do that, and also in another language. And sometimes words being used in business or in construction are not the same words that you normally would use. And also words in Guanacaste sometimes are different than in different parts of Costa Rica as well, I found out. So,
Agreed.
yeah.
Agreed.
The word for machete is cotacha in Guanacaste. So if you say cotacha somewhere else, they won't know what you're talking about unless it's in Guanacaste. But anyway, I mean, again, what are the challenges that, do you think that you'll face going forwards, or that Costa Rica is going to face going forwards? I mean, again, I think it's, for you, as you said there, you do your own retreat, so it's a lot easier. I mean, I think for someone that's, I can't see why someone would probably buy their own retreat center to just be like a third party and rent it out to retreat leaders. I'm sure there's a business there, but like, if you don't know it, it really doesn't make sense. I mean, you'd be starting from scratch.
I see it. I know two other retreat leaders who have purchased retreat centers without any retreat experience under their belts, and they're just like, we're going to open up a retreat center. I think the decorating portion, like, and the holistic portion calls to them, and I'm like, whew, that's a tough business model, because then they have to learn how to recruit retreat leaders to come to their space. So I've seen that done a couple of times, not very successfully. So I don't know if I would recommend that people would invest without any retreat knowledge, just straight out of the gate. I'm going to open a retreat center. I don't know if I'd recommend that. But for people who run retreats on a regular basis, even if you run, let's say, 4 to 6 retreats a year, so kind of a smaller operation of retreats, it might make a lot of sense for you to own your own retreat center. And people are very willing to jump on a plane and go to Costa Rica. They very much want to. So my previous business, we did retreats in the US, a few international, but mostly in the US. And I would say people are more eager to jump on an international flight to Costa Rica and to attend a retreat than to go to a retreat in the US, unless you're in a really spectacular, oceanfront location in the US. You might as well buy a retreat center in Costa Rica or beyond versus the US. So I've owned, I had 1, 2, 3, probably 4 or 5 retreat centers over the years in the US. And Costa Rica is not hard to fill. So if you are a current retreat owner or retreat runner, Costa Rica has been great.
Kim, maybe this is a bit off subject, but like, what are some of the costs that you weren't expecting of having a retreat center in Costa Rica? What about it?
Let's see.
Some of the shocks or anything you were like, wow, I was not expecting.
Yeah. When I bought the retreat center, I had, it's a small retreat center in front on the beach, and then there's a house behind, and I did a full renovation of my house because I was going to live there, which I still do. I lived there half time, and the surprises, I don't know if there's been any like line item surprises. My project came in on budget, which is nice.
On time?
Well, I've done a lot of construction in the past, so I knew it would be double of what was promised. And so I was expecting that. If you weren't expecting that, you'd be surprised, but it was no slower than a US renovation project. So that has been just fine. I think what has surprised me the most and what has been more expensive than anticipated is maintenance. So my property is right on the beach, and that, salt water blows in and destroys everything. Like, I mean, everything. If there is anything metal
ACs,
in your property,
TVs,
everything. We don't have microwaves in all of our units. All of our units have kitchens, but we have only one microwave for the entire place. They have to go to the office to use it. And we've replaced that microwave 3 times in a year and a half.
Wow.
And so, like, that salt water is no joke. It destroys everything. You have to rewire your property every, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years, like rewire the walls. Like, this is how intense that salt water is. And so if you're planning on being near the ocean, expect a really high maintenance budget.
But you can charge more.
Yeah, yeah, you can.
Yeah.
And plus, you're on the beach. Come
Yeah,
on,
that's
you're
true.
on the beach.
That's true.
One more thing I wanted to talk about too. In the US, when you're doing a renovation, like you take over a new project, right? And you're like, we need a new roof, we need new walls, we need new kitchens, like whatever it is that you need. And you budget it all in and you do one big blast and you do the whole renovation. And then you're like, oh, I won't need to redo that for 20 years, right? And you think the roof will last 20 years, the ACs will last 15 years, like whatever, like you think you can expect that. That's the worst way to do things in Costa Rica because you have to like suck the life out of every little piece, right? So bear with me. So if that metal roof has another 5 months on it, you give it all 5 months and you don't replace it until it has a hole in it, right? Like in the US would be like, oh, it looks like it's going out. Let's replace it. No, you will not be able to make profits because you have to squeeze the life out of every asset you have for as long as you can in Costa Rica. And that's why you can go to the hardware store. It's just a different culture. You can buy 3 screws. In the US, you buy, 200 screws. And in Costa Rica, you buy 3 screws. You replace things as they die, not when they start to get a little bit ugly, if you want to be profitable. So that's my best advice. Like squeeze the life out of every asset.
Well, and preventative maintenance. I mean, like repainting that roof, as much as you can as well. I mean, again, just being on the ocean is, again, its own nightmare. I mean, we build houses on the oceans here and, we're just like no exposed metal, like that kind of stuff, So we do a lot of, actual concrete and all the tubing's in concrete so that we don't have all those issues and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still, I mean, anything, just it eats everything. So, Well, you have a new project coming up in Sámara. You already have one. You're looking at another one. You and I chatted about it the other day. But like, tell us about it. What makes it unique? How you came about it? Like, tell us about what you think that journey is going to be.
Yeah, we are actively looking for investors for another beachfront project. I didn't think one was enough. I want to take on another one. I love the project portion of it, right? Like running retreats, great. Running the hotel retreat center, great, but like the project piece is what makes me light up. And so whenever I see a property that's kind of falling apart, I just get excited. So that's what I'm excited about it. It's kind of falling apart and I can't wait to get my hands on it. And so we're going to completely transform that space. Also, in a year and a half since I have purchased my retreat center, we've completely maxed it out. So I don't have any more room. I can't grow. We run the hotel season about 6 months out of the year, retreat season the other 6 months out of the year. I'm able to run retreats. I'm running retreats right now in the middle of October in rainy season.
Wow. I love rainy season.
I know a lot of people do. It's harder to travel in though. Yeah.
True.
And so we've used up all of the time that we can spend in that place. And so I'm looking for something bigger to expand into. Okay. So that's what I'm looking at now.
So, I mean, anyone that's listening that's interested, I mean, who are you looking for? Do you think the investment size is, Kim, just to give anyone an idea here?
Yeah, we're looking for about a 1.5 million investment. The property is worth more, but that's how much we're still looking for and needing.
Yep.
So if anyone is interested, if you have retreats, especially if you run retreats and you're looking for access to a retreat center, if you wanted to invest here, you could get in at 1.5 and have access to a much larger, much nicer property than 1.5 would get for you. So I'm pretty picky on my partners. I'm not looking for anyone. I like people who are really easy to work with, who have experience in the industry, and people I just like. That's what I want to spend my time working with, people I like. And so that's what we're looking for.
No, I mean, I think that's it. Look, I mean, a partner, I've had many partners in business. It's no different than a partner in life a lot of times.
Yes, exactly.
You need to choose them wisely. So I've had many partners and thank God the majority of them have worked out well. I've had a couple that haven't, but like, there's always a, as I like to we call them a Texas shootout clause in there. Which is a good clause to have in any partnership agreement. So, but yeah.
A Texas shootout. Wow.
Well, it's a great clause because basically it's like if you and I were business partners and I was like, look, I don't want to work with Kim anymore. I can make you an offer, but I need to be careful what I offer you because you can turn it back and buy me out for that offer. So
got it. Interesting.
So it's so that I can't lowball you. So if I'm the majority and I want to buy the minority out, I also need to know that as soon as I make you that offer, Kim, you can turn around and buy me out at that rate. So I have to be okay with that rate.
Interesting. I like that. I like that. It sounds very fair. It's kind
Exactly.
of like the principle of, as a mom, you have your kids like cut the candy bar in half, and then the
Correct.
other person gets to choose which half, that
Correct.
same principle. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Texas
well,
shootout, candy bar splitting,
yep.
important principles in business.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Well, Kim, I've kept you long enough, but my last question for you, which I love to ask everyone. If you inherited $500,000 and you had to invest into a business or real estate in Costa Rica, what would you invest it in and why?
Well, 500,000 wouldn't go very far for me. So make it
Great.
5 million and then we're talking, right? But if I had a chunk of change to invest, I would definitely buy this project outright and do renovations and get it up and running immediately. So that's an easy one for me. It's what I'm looking for right now is just investment. So
But what
easy
else?
question.
Where else do you think the opportunity is in Costa Rica or let's say in Sámara? I mean, is there
I like to stay close. I don't want to travel all around. I know you like to jump on a jet and fly
yeah,
all over the place. My previous career, I traveled enough for an entire lifetime. So I want to stay really central. So I would look at other Samara properties and keep it really close, really, really local so I can just pop around to all of them.
you'd leverage your knowledge and also probably some of your staff. And I mean, that's the great thing about having one and that
Mhm.
learning and pushing it across to another one is you can also leverage all the staff and the marketing and the
Mhm.
systems and everything you have.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yep.
Well, Kim,
Agreed,
it's
agreed.
been an absolute pleasure having you here on the podcast. Thank you very much for taking the time to chat with us. Anyone that's interested in chatting with Kim, I'll put all of her contact details in the description down below. But very much appreciate your time.
Perfect. Thanks, Richard.
Thanks very much, Kim. Bye. Very different podcast there, chatting with Kim there. Again, it's always nice to see someone that's successfully done a project here in Costa Rica. And I think that she has something just very unique, which was that she had all of her own retreat centers and was able to fill them up herself. I would think it would be a bit of a mission to try and do it if she wasn't. But that being said, if you guys remember Kim and Jason, they started a retreat center here, but they've also I don't think they ran retreats themselves, but then they started to do it and they've been very, very successful at Ananda Lodge over there. So those guys have done amazing work. I actually had some clients and listeners to this podcast and investors actually go over to Ananda Lodge and do some of their retreats and said it was absolutely stunning. That was actually a project that we project managed, helped them get there. But I'm very proud of them and the work that they've done and kind of how they've integrated into the local community and just here in Costa Rica, they've really assimilated them and their family very, very well. But anyway, guys, remember, if you are looking to invest here in Costa Rica, we do help people invest here. Doesn't matter what it is. I had a conversation with somebody yesterday that was looking to move all of their assets out the US down here. And I was like, I wouldn't do that. So I just gave them some advice of kind of like what I would do. Again, it's, while Latin America is great and there's opportunity down here, I still think North America is a great, stable environment in order to invest. Diversification smart, but moving all assets out of the US, I don't know whether I would particularly do that, or Canada. I understand there's a little bit of concern at the moment, but I think diversification is definitely the word. So just guiding them on that. But remember, guys, if you are looking for investments down here, we also have investments that get you residency. What we have, I think that is very unique. So again, there's no obligation, guys. You can feel free to chat with us. All of the details are in the link down below. Our email is info@investingcostarica.com. That's info@investingcostarica.com. Remember, if you're enjoying this podcast, guys, please give us a 5-star review, write us a review. We love to read them. But yeah, we very much appreciate your support, everyone listening. And to the next podcast, we'll catch you soon. Bye.
The #1 Costa Rica real estate and investment podcast, bringing you experts from all over Costa Rica.